Well, we blew the $500 budget. All right, fresh back from the dyno, and good news, bad news. Good news is the supplementary air system is working. So some table values had to be adjusted, but it's now working. It is not your BMW pops and bangs, crackle tune, fart machine, whatever you want to call it. What this actually works at is it has to be warm, it has to be a certain amount of load, it has to be a certain RPMs, all these different parameters such that it really only kicks in if you're giving it, some stick. And that's what I want. I don't want to be cruising around town, farting and popping and banging. What I want is on full throttle between shifts for a little bit of anti-lag, kind of keep things moving a little bit, and that's it. That's what's working. But yeah, bad news is well, we blew the $500 budget. Let's just say that. Yeah, not by much though. So maybe a couple hundred over because I had to get one of these. So this is a Turbo Smart IWG 75 replacement internal wastegate. Well, when we were on the dyno, we were chasing a very weird boost issue where it would build up boost and then just fall off. And you'd think, hey, boost leaks. Nope, that wasn't the problem because the air fuel ratios were perfectly on target. Engine was running just fine, had no sputtering. So those are usually your indications of, hey, there's a boost leak happening. But what was causing it? So we thought, hey, you know what? We swapped the blow-off valve or bypass valve. Let's disable that. So we flipped the bypass valve backwards and said, okay, well now you're not going to be able to leak boost. Still had our problem. We couldn't even get to like holding 14 psi. It was basically building up to 20 something and just boom, falling on its face down to like 7, 8. And this is indicative of, hey, this wastegate's not doing what it's supposed to do. It seems like the flapper is getting blown open and all my boost is bypassing my turbo. So when that happens, all that exhaust gas is just blowing straight out the wastegate flapper hole, and my turbo isn't spinning fast enough and just boost falls on face. And I've never seen an internal wastegate fail. Again, it's a used turbo. I have no idea what that internal wastegate has been through. I don't know what its life was like. So we're going to go ahead and put one of these bad boys on. Unfortunately, I think it was like $250 for this guy, which is more than I spent on the turbo. Go figure. So whatever, you know what? Hey, it is what it is. This is what you get. But if you got yourself an Evo 9 turbo and you don't have to get one of these, then you'll still be under the $500 price point. Unlucky me, but lucky me that now I can actually adjust my boost pressures really, really nicely with an actual mechanical setup versus just boost control. So I went with the 18 PSI springs. And no, I could have gone more to my boost target springs, which is like 23, 25. I could have gotten actually spot on to that with this and really not even need boost control whatsoever. But I like the idea of having a low boost mode. Let's say I'm going to the track and it's in a 100-degree day and it's just freaking scorching outside. Maybe I don't want to run 23, 25 pounds. Maybe I want to take it off a little bit and go a little easier. If I was running 23 pounds in this, I couldn't do that. So what this lets me do is say, hey, my low is 18. So on wastegate pressure alone, I'm going to run 18 pounds, which is probably more than safe for this. And then I'll use my boost control to, bring that up to 25. Generally speaking, the rule of thumb is 2 times. 2 times your wastegate spring actuator pressure is the maximum boost you should run. Get within 2x your ratio and you'll be fine. But, all right, let's get this on and come on. All right, so I'll save you all the trouble of me getting this thing on there, but basically bolted onto the turbo pretty easily. But then now what I'm doing is setting the pre-tension on the wastegate actuator. So the actual call is for 2 millimeters of pre-tension. I went a little bit more conservative. I think I ended up somewhere like the 4 or 5 millimeter range. And I'm just sitting here measuring that out now between the center point of the wastegate actuator in the closed position and the center point of that clevis there at the end of the actuator. To actually get it on and do a little air pressure on the wastegate actuator, it pushes the rod out and lets me install it nice and easily. But yeah, just kind of showing that process here. All right, now we got everything on the car. The wastegate actuator bolts on the turbo. compressor side there with 2 bolts. Pretty easy. I just had to move the fan out of the way a little bit, but I was able to do it on the car. Now the O2 heat shield, that was a little bit trickier. I had to actually cut it at the very bottom where allowing the O2 sensor to kind of slip through. Or you can just pop the O2 sensor out, but I just thought it was easier to cut the shield. But that gave me the room to get this on without having to take everything off the car. Pretty straightforward. It only took me, 15 minutes. But all right, well, let's go for a ride. See if this works. All right, let's get it out here and see what it can do. So I'll start off just giving a little bit of light throttle, some partial throttle, just make sure nothing falls on its face. It's always a good check early on. Don't stress it too hard, but already it's holding boost a little bit better. Before it would just fall right on its face. So it even gets like 7. All right, now let's give it a little bit more stick. Let's see what that anti-lag can do. Just a little bit of a anti-lag supplementary system kick in there. And now let's give some real full throttle pulls here. You can see it's pulling to 20 PSI and holding strong right to red line. That's the 18 PSI spring doing its job really well. But yeah, overall, I think that solved it. It's pulling strong now, feels great, and that internal wastegate was my weird issue on the dyno. And now I need to get back in the dyno and get the wheel horsepower numbers, but keep in mind, if it was doing 320 wheel with the boost fall on his face and lift while we're getting out of it by like 5,000 RPMs, then this thing's probably in that 350, 380 wheel range pretty comfortably. But definitely going to get it back on the dyno and show you all a video. But I just wanted to get this up and out so you guys can see the progress and keep track of what's happening. But thanks for watching, and yeah, stay tuned and hopefully get that dyno up here soon.